Kyosuke, right? Onegashimasu. Ajimemashite. Let me begin. You may notice that I am not in the dojo. Sensei Christian is back at our secret lair, engaging in mortal combat, and here I am out on the road, taking care of business. And business it is indeed, because earlier, Sensei Christian and I have been going through some of the Desert Gems by Frederic Malle. And these are extraordinarily beautiful, extraordinarily expensive, extraordinarily coveted fragrances. And we kind of smack talked Frederic Malle The Night. And no, don't worry, Frederic didn't call me, Dominic Ropion did not call me, but I figured that, after a hard day of training, there's blood, sweat, tears in the air in the dojo. I figure, why not give the night a real trial? So, I'm here in a major metropolitan city on the east coast of the United States of America. It is about 5 o'clock. The sun is setting. The temperature is approximately 55 degrees and falling. Humidity is negligible. And there's a lot of crime in this city. But I'm going to an event. And I decided that I'm going to wear the night. So this is Sensei Christian's decant. And we decided that it smelled like Portrait of a Lady with oud. And it faded over time, and we were not impressed with its performance, especially up against something like Dead of Night by Strangers NYC, which is also a rose oud that's hellaciously expensive. But just so that we have a full review here, I will read the description from the Frederic Malle website so we know what we're working with in this little vial here. It says, a fragrance by Dominic Ropion, not for the initiated. The Night is a fragrance masterpiece with an exceptional quantity of concentrated natural oud. In the Middle East, the sunset represents the start of a new life when the absolute emerges. The absolute emerges. The Night is an extraordinary radical work of art, the ultimate immoderate oud clothed in saffron and an ocean of Turkish rose. The ingredient rolls and scrolls of incense and sandalwood. This oud, probably the most precious on the market. You might want to ask Inser about that, or Russian Adam, or Bortnikov, Agarora, any of the other oud hustlers out there. Is this precious? What do you think? Comment below. At any rate, let us continue. This oud, probably the most precious on the market, is the ultimate celebration of the night and its infinite mysteries for the most discerning of connoisseurs. The notes are rose, saffron, natural oud, incense, and sandalwood. So, Sensei Christian and I did go on skin, but we went on the arm. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to go 2 sprays. I'm going to go one there and one there. And it'll probably get on the collar of my shirt. All right, I'm regretting the 2 sprays. Fortunately, this will be an open event that I'm going to. If anybody passes out, I will chalk it up as a win, and I will drop $2,000 on a bottle of this. I'm also going to spray it on this clean handkerchief right here. So what this will do, this will be our control. I like doing this. This is part of my fragrance routine, is either spraying, usually I spray a different fragrance than the one I'm wearing on the handkerchief that I keep in my pocket, but tonight I am all in on the moon. So what I'll do is initial impressions, oudy, leathery, that must be the saffron, and quite frankly, I'm really just getting oud and rose. Saffron there is something a touch medicinal about it that I don't recall the last time. I quite like it, as a matter of fact. It's raw, almost as if you're taking a bite of a red rose as opposed to smelling it. And I don't quite get the sandalwood, but I do remember it settling down into something creamy. definitely something like incense, but I wouldn't say it's a frankincense. It gives the idea of something burning in the air. So it's now 5 o'clock. I have to walk about 20 minutes to the event. I will stay at that event as long as I can tolerate it or they can tolerate me. And then I'll come back here and I will give you a post-mortem. Kioske. Rei, domo, arigato gozaimasu. Stay tuned. Kioske. Rei, onigashimasu. Hajimemashite. Let us begin. So I'm back. And had an interesting time with Frederic Malle's The Night. It wasn't a long time, but it was a good time. So after putting on the fragrance, I had this overwhelming note of whiskey come out. Like whiskey, like cracking the bottle open, sniffing it right from the bottle. And it was this combination, I believe, of the rose and the saffron that just gave this really woody, alcoholic kind of smell. But it was aged alcohol. It was a brown alcohol smell that it gave off. And that was pleasant. However, not really what I'm going for when I wear a fragrance like this. It was not a perfumer's alcohol smell by any means. It was an accord that was being made by the notes. So I took my walk. I left the hotel. I took my walk, and during my walk, I had some really nice whiffs of the fragrance. And I didn't get any real particular notes. I got this holistic oud, rose, saffron, leather, whiskey mass, right? If you can imagine that. Like it smelled like The Night, which the best way I can explain that is the way that Portrait of a Lady is a cohesive fragrance that maintains its identity over time. The Night does the exact same thing. And for about the first hour and a half, I was enjoying it. I was walking around the event center where I was chatting with people, was mingling with people, gave some old friends hugs, and nobody commented on it. Nobody really ran away either, which is good. But for a $2,000 fragrance, I didn't feel as if I were wearing something special. If I were wearing the Moon and I went out, I would have a much greater sense of presence. I would also have a much greater sense of being put together and of something special happening. This is a fragrance to me. It's a nice fragrance. It's not a very long-lasting fragrance, but it is something, if you do like rose ouds, that you could go and wear in a social setting and not dominate the room. Other of the desert gyms, especially Promise. I wore Promise the other day and put on 2 sprays, and my wife said, "Whoa, you've kind of overdone it." And then we got in the car together, and yeah, windows down. But The Night wouldn't do that. However, what do you want out of a $2,000 fragrance? What do you want out of an oud rose fragrance? There are things out there that you can find that are much more authentic and Middle Eastern smelling. This does smell like a French fragrance to me. So it certainly carries over that Frederic Malle aesthetic. It's very well put together, incredibly well blended. So much so that if someone were told or were not told that it was a rose fragrance, they probably wouldn't identify rose as a note. So in that case, you are getting something that is homogeneous and does have a unique identity. At the same time, I don't know if it's special enough to me to command the price or for me to even go out of my way to wear it again, as opposed to something else where I might feel a little more festive, a little more sophisticated, a little more put together. I will try to wear this again before I give this decant back to Sensei Christian. I mean, there's a lot of juice left in there. So maybe when the weather warms up, I will try it again. But anyway, do you have any thoughts on The Night from Frederic Malle? You had any experiences with it? Are you a yay or a nay? Do you mind that your fragrance kind of takes a nap after 2 hours? Because that's what the night did. Let me know. Thank you very much. We're going to bow out now and call it a night. Kyosuke, right? Domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much. See you back in the dojo. Wait, before you go. The handkerchief. Well, let me tell you about this. Woo! It stays on cloth. So I put one spray from the decant onto this handkerchief and it stays. So it smells actually as good as when I sprayed it. It hasn't evolved much. The alcohol-y whiskey note has dissipated. I do get a more distinct note separation on this. So I'm smelling it. And I definitely get the rose. I get the saffron. But I get this voluminous incense that's in there. And I can get some of the sandal woodiness on the base. So keeping that in mind, I like this so much better than the wearing experience. So I think next time I wear it, I'm not going to go on the neck. I'm going to go on clothes. And that's my recommendation as of right now. If you are to acquire this extremely expensive masterpiece, gem, whatever you want to call it, go on the clothes. Go on the clothes. Maybe even the hair if you're a hair sprayer. But I think that if you go on skin, it's going to dissipate, especially if you're moving around the way I was by taking a walk. So, final thoughts. Go to bed.